For my senior project, I decided to approach a problem that is dear to my heart. I wanted to tackle the goal of educating and informing those in the community of the advantages and the risks when it comes to vaccinating our pets, as well as giving them preventative methods.
So there's a lot of different reasons. I think some of the main reasons are cost. It can get expensive, so for a lot of people it's cost prohibitive. I think there's also a lack of knowledge. So there are people that will say to me, I've had dogs all my life and they've never needed those things before. I think there's a lack of education for how important they are. And then I also think there is a lack of knowledge in regards to safety. So the vaccine debate that exists in people can get extrapolated over to dogs and cats. So people are concerned that vaccines can be harmful instead of helpful. So it all starts with education, and I think a lot of times we take that for granted. And as healthcare professionals, we get busy, and so we take for granted that our clients and patients don't have the knowledge that we have. So I think we need to sit down and educate them. The biggest complication would be they could get affected by the disease that we're trying to prevent. The other risk is a lot of these diseases are contagious. For example, parvovirus in dogs and leukopenia in cats, both of which are in our core vaccines recommended for dogs and cats. The other complication is a lot of the diseases that fleas and ticks can transmit to pets. Pets can then transmit to people, and that's called a zoonotic disease. We can also get intestinal parasites from dogs and cats, so roundworms are contagious from. Heartworm disease is very real, especially down here in the South since it's transmitted by mosquitoes. And heartworms can end up causing heart failure and death. The most common thing you're going to see are external and internal parasites, so fleas and ticks, both of which carry diseases. We also see a lot of intestinal parasites, roundworms, hookworms, whipworms, and tapeworms. I see those things every day. So intestinal parasites are so easy to prevent because there are multiple different preventative options. Many of our monthly flea and tick preventatives also have intestinal parasite treatments in them. It is very dependent on the type of infection they have. So certain parasites have a once and done treatment, and then the biggest emphasis is on prevention thereafter. We just said, here's a pill, it'll get rid of it, goodbye. That animal could become reinfected and probably would. So we would give them a single dewormer, usually in the form of a liquid or a pill, and then talk about a monthly preventative. A lot of the diseases that our vaccines prevent against are to protect puppies. Long-term complications or short-term complications would actually be a puppy getting sick with something like parvovirus, which untreated oftentimes is death. The other complication is if that puppy gets parvo, now that virus is contaminated in their house, so if they get any new pets are now at risk of getting sick. So the other long-term complication would be pets getting fleas and ticks, their house getting infested with fleas, and owners then having to deal with exterminators to come. So we start out by educating the client on what vaccines are core and required, and then talk about the lifestyle of the pet to determine which non-core vaccines that pet should be receiving. For cats and for dogs, we would talk about our core vaccinations. So core vaccination is a vaccine that is recommended regardless of the lifestyle of the pet. For cats, that is what we call in short term the feline distemper, or the FVRCP, which vaccinates for some upper respiratory viruses and for leukopenia. Rabies is required by law in all companion pets, regardless if they go inside or outside. For dogs, the core vaccines are what we call the canine distemper on shorthand, also called the DHPP, standing for distemper, hepatitis, parainfluenza, and parvovirus. So all dogs, regardless of their lifestyle, should get these vaccines because they are highly contagious, they are lethal, and they don't need to come into contact with other dogs to get these viruses. Rabies vaccine is also required by law. And then we would talk with them about what we call non-core vaccines. So vaccines that would be recommended depending on the lifestyle of the pet. So, for example, cats that go outside are at higher risk for a retrovirus called feline leukemia virus. For dogs, non-core vaccines are Bordetella, which is one form of kennel cough. So dogs that are around other dogs, for example, if they go to dog parks, they're going to be going to boarding kennels, they get the Bordetella vaccine. Leptospirosis is a bacteria that's transmitted through the urine of wildlife. Dogs that go hiking or camping, those people that have a wooded backyard or a lot of wildlife in their backyard, those dogs should get leptospirosis. So I think one of the biggest mistakes that pet owners can make in regards to preventatives and vaccines are believing everything they read on the internet. There's a lot of false information out there about protocols. People will follow advice from non-professionals, either given to them by mouth or that they see online, and not follow the recommendations of their veterinarian and put their pet at risk. And I also think that using over-the-counter medications like there's some flea-and-tick preventatives that aren't safe. I have seen dog flea-and-tick preventatives applied to cats, and that can be very dangerous, leading to seizures and even death. I've seen people try and administer their own vaccines. By not being a medical professional, they might not be doing it properly, and you may as well not be doing it at all in that case.
Thank you, Main Street Veterinary Hospital, and all of your staff for all the help and guidance you've provided me over the past year and a half as I worked on this project.